This episode is sponsored by Pet Matrix Premium Canine Supplements. Straight Up Dog Talk is super excited to be partnered with Pet Matrix. After exhausting several other pet supplemental brands, I am now seeing the results that I have always been searching for Toby and Fitz. Pet Matrix supports all three pillars of canine wellness using their cell matrix delivery. It delivers nutrition directly into the cell. If you're looking for a supplement that pairs with nature and science, look no further and get your dog on Pet Matrix today. Welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk, a new kind of podcast where no topic is off limits. We're bringing in experts and owners to have the conversations we should be having as a dog community. Each week, a new guest will share firsthand experiences, educational resources, or professional guidance to help you learn and grow along with your dog. You won't get one perspective here, you'll get them all, because every dog is different and every owner is too.
You can follow along on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Straight Up Dog Talk, or by visiting www.straightupdogtalk.com. Tune in from any of your favorite podcast platforms.
Hi, I'm Em, and welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk. We're back again this week, as always, with Josh.
Hello.
And this week's guest is Brittney, and we're going to be talking about rescue dogs and training a service dog. How are you doing today, Brittney?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. We're really excited to have you here. We have some fun topics today, and I'm really excited to share this with the community. So why don't we start off with talking a little bit about you and your dogs and your lifestyle?
Simply put, chaotic. It's just a bunch of fun chaos. Having 4 different dogs of all different ages, it can get a little crazy, especially with all their different personalities. We'll start with the oldest, and we'll go from the oldest to the youngest. So we have Diamond. She's an American bully. She's 11 years old. Tyson, he's also another bully. I'm not 100% sure what kind of bully breed he is. He's 11 years old. Then we have Ivy. She's 4. She's an American bully. And then we have Quinn, who is 1.5, and she's an American bully German Shepherd mix. So you can only imagine the different personalities they are.
Yeah, you guys always are up to something at your house. I mean, seeing your Instagram stories and your reels, you always have some fun things going on with your dogs.
So for Quinn, because she's the youngest, she goes everywhere. So she's the most adventure. I love taking her on hikes. She loves going on hikes. Ivy, we're kind of working through her reactivity. So she's more of like a night owl, because we live in the city. So at night, it's a little bit less chaotic for the city life because we're from New York. So we usually go out, and when I say night walks, I mean like midnight, 1 o'clock. My husband's with me and I'm with 4 dogs. We're perfectly safe, but that's just kind of what works for her. And then Tyson, he still is pretty active, but we kind of just keep it to the distance that his legs can give, like his muscles and his legs. I don't want to overdo it, and I don't want him to be out and down for the count for days after his walk. Diamond has some mobility issues. She has arthritis. So we just kind of have a wagon. So when she starts to kind of slow down a little bit, she goes in her wagon. She gets wet, like pulled around like a little princess that she is.
Yeah, that's a really neat thing to do, because you can include all of the dogs and still make them have their pack activities versus somebody getting left at home.
That was actually one of my biggest struggles, was to give them one-on-one time, because I always felt like, I don't know, some kind of guilt. And I feel like it's not spoken about enough when you do those one-on-one activities with them, but it's so needed for your bond with them. So like Quinn, again, she's my everywhere dog. So like if I want to go for a long walk, she's coming with me. If I want to take a drive, she's coming with me. If I simply just want to sit outside, like she's coming with me. She does everything. She's my fun dog, if you want to call it that. She's my my hyper energetic dog that needs it. Then I have Ivy, who's reactive, who enjoys her own type of things. Like I said, night walks, or like sitting outside at night when people aren't around, or just simply like cuddling on the couch. Like she's kind of like the simpler. She loves McDonald's, so like we'll go and get her chicky nuggies. We'll go for like a chicky nuggie run. Tyson, he loves his little walks around the block. He loves car rides. And Diamond is the biggest snuggler. Like she is like a big body pillow. If you let her, she will just lay with you all day. Doesn't move. You physically have to get her to go up to go to the bathroom because she will not move. And she loves car rides. So like you gotta kind of figure out there and not feel bad if you're taking one for a car ride and leaving somebody home, because you're making that dog's entire experience just more heightened, and you're building the bond with you and your dog.
Exactly. And you are right. That is something that does not get talked enough about on social media or in, any dog communities that I've really been in, up until creating this one. That owner guilt, is something that we all experience and we all feel. But again, this podcast is all about removing guilt and shame from dog ownership and really trying to implement that it's okay to do that one-on-one and make sure that you have that time with your dogs. I mean, I have 2 dogs and I struggle giving them individual times. And sometimes, individual time at my house looks like me in the backyard sitting in a chair throwing a ball for Fitz with the chuck it while Toby sits on my lap and gets snuggles. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that. And you seem to really know the personalities of your dogs really well and seem to cater to their individual needs.
I have to say, like, I'm very lucky with my 4 because not everybody knows or can tell right off the bat with their dogs. Mine are I don't know how to explain it. Their personalities are just so strong that you can tell what they want and what they don't want. And I know that's not common in every dog, and I know that's not a common thing at all. So like I'm extremely lucky. Like I'm extremely lucky with Quinn and knowing what she wants, because let me tell you, she'll let you know what she wants. Ivy with having some like reactivity, even when she has her like boundary up, she lets you know. Like I don't know, it's crazy. It really is. And I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate with my 4.
I think that it probably doesn't boil down to luck completely. I think it boils down to you understanding your dog's body language, which is something that we've talked about with some trainers already and are going to continue to talk about with some trainers in the future. But you really have seemed to have locked into that and are in tune with your dogs and their needs and able to read their body language. I know from watching your content that you do put that time and effort in with your dogs. And I think that it's incredible to see relationships and how each of your individual relationships are with your dogs. Let's talk a little bit about your night walks, because it's kind of fun. I love your night walks. I love to watch your stories. You've shared some things privately with me when you're on your night walks, just to give me some extra behind the scenes stuff. And I love what you do with these night walks. So tell everybody a little bit about the collars that you use and where you go.
Okay. So my husband actually found their light up collars on Amazon. We've been using these light up collars for the last, I don't know, like 6 years. Like that's how invested we are with these collars. They're USB, so you just plug them in. They light up, so you can see them. 2 of my dogs are brindles. I don't know if you know what a brindle is. It's like that dark. Well, it can come in different colors, but they're dark brown and tan. You're not seeing them at night. Like there's no way that you can see them at night. And these collars, so bright that you can literally see if they're walking on the sidewalk, you can see 2 squares ahead of them and 2 squares behind them. Like it's pretty bright. They each have their own color because I'm color coordinated. I'm color coordinated. So the youngest is purple. That's Quinn. Ivy is green. Diamond is pink, and Tyson is white. We give him white because he gets lost in all the bushes every time.
So we don't do a whole lot of night walking, but that would be great for Artemis, who is black as night, except for her white that is slowly starting on her muzzle and moving through as she gets older. But that sounds awesome.
I can definitely let you know where we get them from.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're Blazing Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you send me the link for that and we'll provide it in the episode details so that the guest listeners,
Definitely.
everybody can tune in and get some for their dogs. Cause yeah, I think they're really, really cool and they light up. So, let's talk about where you go as far as these night walks, because like I said, I really enjoy them. And I think that you go to a really fun place that I would have never thought of.
So there's a school, a public school, a couple blocks away from our house. And because it's a public school and they have a playground, it's all closed in. So they have to be closed in because kids go out there for recess, whatever. At night, they leave the gates open. So we take the dogs in there, we close all the gates up, and they all kind of just run havoc. And it's nice because now Ivy gets to have off-leash experiences as well because she can't really have them in the real world, if you want to call it that. Like,
The real world.
That's her little comfort zone.
It's a nice little safety bubble for her. Yeah, I just, when I first realized that you were at this little playground, that's what I thought it was. And then you told me it was a school. I guess I never really thought about the fact that a schoolyard would have to be fenced in. And it's like big metal fencing and it's huge. I mean, there's like a basketball court area and then like a playground area. So it's almost like having this giant backyard for your dogs, which you also have a backyard, but there is a reason that you don't use it in the winter. So why don't you share that with everybody?
So we do have a rather large yard, but we have an in-ground pool. And so we have an in-ground pool. And for the safety of the dogs, we have it fenced. So like if the yard is, let's say, like this big, my yard shape is weird, but let's say it's like this portion, when the pool area is not being used. Even like when we're home and the pool's open, we keep that gate closed because we don't want anybody drowning. We don't want any accidents. Like, no, thank you. For the most part, my dogs know how to swim, but still, like, I just rather that not happen. And in the wintertime, because it's closed, they're not able to run on there because Ivy likes to jump in my closed pool.
We won't be releasing the video, so we don't know what this is on sound.
Okay.
So try to estimate how big it is and then give a percentage of how much is available.
10% of my yard.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that can be dangerous for dogs, especially if they're unsupervised. I know that you don't leave your dogs unsupervised, but some people do leave their dogs unsupervised and they get into trouble in pool situations. But when a pool is empty and the dog is jumping down into it, I mean, that's a recipe for danger. I mean, she could break a limb and get stuck in there and you wouldn't know until, you heard her crying or whatever the situation might be. But again, I know you don't leave your dogs unattended. So
actually how that fence came about was because my house is my mother-in-law's house. And like, it's been passed down. So it was like his grandmother's house. So it's like been passed down generation to generation. One of her elder dogs, he was, I believe, a beagle. He no longer could see. And she was literally in the kitchen where there's a window. Yeah. And he unfortunately drowned. And like, she was right there. And then after that, she was like, we're putting up a fence. Like, we're never having this ever again. Also, I don't drain my pool. So like, they only drain a little bit. So when Ivy did jump on that, we're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to get her out? Thank God this dog is like a jumper. And she jumped back out of it. We're like, absolutely not. We're never doing this again. Like, you're not allowed here. Like,
cold,
no, thank you.
Cold and dangerous. And yes, I know we live in the Midwest, so we know that you don't drain the pools all the way because it can crack the pool. It can make the pool come up out of the ground. So yeah, it really, truly is a recipe for disaster. Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of those safety hazards. So let's talk a little bit about the dogs just in general, because I know that you rescued all 4 of them. So could you just tell us a little bit about each of their rescue stories?
Sure. So Diamond was my dog from before my husband and I. So I adopted her when I was 18. She's a white American bully. I don't think I told you that she was white, but this is key fact in this story. So she's white. I originally went to Heavenly Angels to go look at puppies. I really I had my heart set on a blue nose pit bull. Like they're my favorite. Like they are gorgeous. You can't tell me otherwise. Like I love them. There was a litter of like newborn, beautiful like blue nose pits with the white down there, coming down the snout, like little white paws, the whole nine. So cute. And this one worker wouldn't stop talking about this dog named Diamond, to the point that I was just like, please just show me her so I could get this woman to shut up, because like I'm in love with these puppies and she won't stop talking to me about this dog named Diamond. So now she takes me over to the cage. What they use in their cages is newspaper. So like, I don't know if you know, when you touch newspaper, like you get that residue on your hands. Okay. So now imagine you have this dog, a white dog sitting on newspaper. Okay. You can only imagine like the shape that this dog look like. So I look at her and I'm like, okay, she's cute. Like I pet her through the cage. I was like, all right, I want to go back to the puppies. And again, wouldn't stop talking about Diamond. So I was like, oh my gosh, take her out of the cage. Like I'll just say hi to her. Like, will it make you stop? Like, oh my God. So she takes her out. We're in front of the facility. I bent down to pet her and she's telling me like her backstory. She basically was 9 months old. She was surrendered by two young girls. They surrendered her due to allergies, but like over time they realized it was from them beating her, and they probably didn't realize how much work a puppy was. So they brought her back and was like, oh, allergies. Upon testing for allergies, she just has environmental allergies, which wouldn't go with the bruising that she had and like the body wounds and things of that nature that she had been dropped off with. As she's telling me the story, I bent down to pet her and she hugged me and I was like, oh, I'm taking this dog. And I will never forget, my mom's reaction was, out of all these dogs, this is the one that you want. Like just picture like a really bad, like bad in shape kind of dog. Like she was really skinny, malnourished. She was just skin and bones, no muscle to her. She was developing arthritis from sitting in a cage for so long. Like she was just really bad. Like even her teeth were kind of like filed down, like her front teeth from trying to get out of the cage. She was just in horrible, horrible condition. And I was like, Mom, she hugged me. Like she chose me.
Yep, she
I'm
sure
like,
did.
I have to bring this dog home. Like I'm not leaving here without her. And sure enough, that was it. That was my first dog that I adopted on my own. My first responsibility.
There is something just ineffable. Like you can't explain it to somebody that's never owned a pet and never just met a pet. Like you can't even compare it to people, because like people can turn you off. Like, but my wife, when our current dog Artemis, the first time that she came just for a house visit, like it was instantaneous, and like they took, it was just a house visit. So when they left, like my wife was crying at the possibility that we wouldn't, adopt this dog. So yeah, I totally get it.
I feel.
Yeah, some bonds are just like that. Some bonds are just super quick, instantaneous, and, listen to it.
Exactly. I mean, that's the same thing that happened with when I got Cajun. I was in my 20s and hadn't planned on getting a dog and accidentally stumbled onto a PetSmart Charities, and there he was. And the lady had said that he hadn't reacted or was not interested in anybody, but he was interested in me. And that was it for me.
He chose you.
He did. So what about Tyson? Let's hear his story.
So Tyson is my husband's from before we got together. I don't remember if it was my mother-in-law's friend or if it was his friend. It was somebody like either one of theirs friend that had been walking home from work. So it was like late at night, walking through East New York, and they heard a puppy crying. So they kind of checked around and was like, all right, where are these like whimpers coming from? Like, I don't see it. They wound up going into the dumpster and finding a box of two puppies, which would be Tyson and his brother. They had to be the size of like a guinea pig. From me, like just looking back at pictures, they were the size of a guinea pig. So I'm not sure how old he was, maybe a few weeks old. I'm not sure. They wound up calling my mother-in-law, Darlene, and was like, I just found these puppies. She was like, bring them to me. Like, she's like, I'm getting up. I'm putting clothes on. Bring them to my house. I'll figure out what to do with them. She wound up keeping Tyson. Obviously, 11 years later, he's well loved. And she rehomed his brother to a very good home. Unfortunately, they lost connection, but he did go to a very, very good home.
That's a sad story with a good ending, too. So we're 2 for 2 on that. Let's talk about Ivy.
Okay. Well, I'm actually curveball. I'm going to talk about Quinn because Quinn was the one.
Quinn came
before
first.
Ivy.
Yep. Okay. Let's talk about Quinn.
Quinn, actually, my husband and I were looking into getting a puppy because our 2 at the time, I believe they were 9. Yeah, because it was 2 years ago. So they were about like 9 or 10. And I was like, oh, we need to keep them young. Also, at the time, my mother-in-law was still living in New York. She moved to Florida, which is why we took over her home. So Diamond and Tyson were always a part of a pack because she had 4 dogs. So they were always in a pack. So she was worried when she was leaving. She's like, Tyson's never not been in a pack. Like, he doesn't know what it is just to be with Diamond. So like, she was a little worried and she was like, oh, okay. As soon as she heard that we were looking for puppies, she's like, great, awesome. I love this. My dog that I've always wanted since I was little was a Doberman. Like, that is like my lifelong goal, or like my dream is to have a Doberman. So like, I finally got my husband on board and we were looking, and I looked into reputable breeders, did the whole thing. Like, it wasn't just like oh, okay, I'm looking into like breeders today and I'm going to go buy tomorrow. Like, this has been like 6 months in the works of looking and talking and making sure that they're all on lists and like AKC listed and this and that. Like, I did all the work. Because my mother-in-law went to Florida and we were taking over her house and we were doing renovations, that was a pretty price tag. We got married, that was a pretty price tag. And then I kind of had that like realization of, do I really want a $4,000 dog? I mean, I do, but like right now, I don't think that's the best idea. Like, as much as I really wanted, I was like, I gotta be smart because this is too much. Around the same time, my mother-in-law was sending me puppies from New York Second Chance Rescue. One of the puppies in particular looked just like Diamond, like when she was younger, and she was like, oh my gosh, it's Diamond's twin. You should put an application and whatever. Her name was Mona. So I'm like, okay, like, just why not? Why not? What do I have to lose? If I don't get it, I don't get it. Not a big deal. So the way that their website is, it's a drop down. So like, you go down, it has the picture next to the name. So I'm going down the drop down. Quinn's original name was Helen. So H comes before M. So of course I see this little brindle baby and I was like, oh my gosh, something about her. Like, my heart was like, I need this dog. And mind you, I've never met her before. And I was like, okay. So I put it in for Helen, went through all this stuff. I kind of gave my husband the heads up, like, hey, I'm putting in this up, like, application, and that's that. He didn't really know that I was going to like all the next steps. So like, he had no idea that I got approved. He had no idea that I was getting this dog. Like, so yes, I went through all the motions. We got it approved. She was in a foster home in New York City. So I had to drive to New York to go meet her fosters to come bring her back. Sent Mario a picture, and I'm not even kidding you. He's like, you need to be home in like 5 seconds. Like, I need to meet this dog. He was also working nights at the time. So he's like, I need to meet her before I go to work. Like, I can't go to work without like seeing this dog. Like, he's like, we should have got her yesterday. And I was like, well, we could have, but so that was kind of Quinn's story. Nothing too crazy. It was just kind of like I don't know. I feel like she was also kind of like fate. And then Ivy is a typical get my dog a dog. So we brought Quinn to kind of keep the other ones all energized and kind of lively and, you know, just kind of keep them from sleeping all the time, honestly. But like, Quinn's a hyper, like, high energy, hyper crazy person. Think if you give children candy, that is Quinn. Like, backflips on the dogs. I'm like, oh gosh, like, these poor Diamond and Tyson. I'm so sorry. Like, she's just a straight like maniac. So we're like, all right, let's go. We took a drive to New York Bully Crew, and we're like, all right, we'll see what they have. They brought out a few dogs, and the way that they do their pairing, like to make sure that they work together, is you walk them not like right next to each other, but like a good feet apart, and make sure that neither one of them react to each other, that they can walk without trying to sniff each other, that they can walk in a straight line, and that's that. So the first dog was too interested in Quinn, and Quinn was like absolutely not having it. The second dog was a little uncomfortable, a little sketchy, and didn't work out either. Then they brought out Ivy, which her original name was Destiny. They brought her out. She absolutely hated me. Like, absolutely hated me. Loved my husband. Also, she hates men in period. Like period. Hates them. Loved my husband. Hated me. Like, let him like walk her. I couldn't walk her. I'm like, what is happening here? So like while we're walking and we're like learning about her and kind of just getting a feel for her, he was the only one that was allowed to hold her leash. Wouldn't let me hold the leash, wouldn't let me pet her, wouldn't let me come near her, which like her handler, which became like one of her best friends because like he took her out all the time, which is how we learned that chicky nuggies were her favorite. It's like he used to take her to get chicky nuggies all the time. He was making jokes and he was like, oh, you know what they say when a dog doesn't like somebody, like you gotta get rid of her. And I'm sitting there, I'm like cracking up. I'm like, listen, you take some, like you win some, you lose some. I'm like, I got the other three. They all love me. If this is your dog, it's fine. Like, I'm not upset about it. Then we sat there and they kind of laid out all of the things that we'd have to do for her. And they were like, are you sure that you want to do this? And I looked at Mary, I'm like, are you sure that like this is the dog that you want? And he's like, yes. He's like, I can't leave her here. And I was like, I can't do the same. Like, I can't leave her here either. So we'll figure it out. Like, we'll make it work somehow. Like, two lunatics with this dog that freaking hates me. Like, I'm pretty sure I fed her chicken nuggets every day for the first, like, 3 weeks. I'm like, here's the chicken nuggets. Just love me.
I would be really interested to see the statistics on rescue dogs and how many of them had bad experiences with men with beards who wore hats. Because all three of my rescue dogs, that has been triggers for all three of them.
Yes, that is Ivy's triggers.
So I looked up statistics for another one of our recordings, and I was actually really surprised by a statistic that we found, just because you brought this up, that the number one return rate for dogs is lifestyle changes. 50% of dogs given back are by women between the ages of 35 and 44, compared to 17% of men at the same age. And it's usually because of lifestyle changes, a lack of training, and no time to look after the dog, or a child being born.
Or, lifestyle changes. Boyfriend moved in. Boyfriend's got a beard and a hat.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. My dog's got to go because, you know, you want to keep your beard in your hat.
No.
Absolutely not.
The door's
Absolutely
that
not.
way.
Shave your beard. Leave the hat.
That's right.
Come in.
Exactly.
And if my dog still doesn't like you, get out of my life.
Yes. Yes.
Take everything you know about dog training apps and forget it. The Pack Animals app is for new and experienced dog guardians who recognize that the things we do to improve our dogs' lives can improve our lives too. They've translated the extensive knowledge of trustworthy human and canine professionals into relatable knowledge nuggets, lessons, and exercises, and packaged it into the approachable price point of a mobile app. Visit packanimals.com or search for Pack Animals in the App Store today.
Because dogs, they do know, but now Ivy loves you very, very much.
Oh yes, I still all of my dogs are my dogs. I am mom. Like, they listen to me. I'm the head person. I don't know if that's like a title, alpha, whatever you want to call it, that is me. Like they listen to me. Not that they don't respect my husband, but it's mainly me. Like if I sit there and I yell stop, they stop. And it's so funny because they act like they get beat, and I assure you they do not. I assure you, like there's been instances where I'll be out with Quinn and like I'll reprimand her because like she's just acting a fool, and this dog will drop to the floor so dramatically, like I beat her. And it's happened in front of like, thankfully, like it's happened in front of our trainer, who's also my friend, and she knows how I am with them. And she's like, this dog acts like you beat the crap out of her. And she's like, she goes to Quinn, she's like, I know she doesn't do anything to you. Can you get up there? Like, why are you acting like this?
I didn't get my way.
Literally a brat.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. It's so funny. Well, on that point, Mia, who is the dog trainer and owner of Wagmore, New York City, is your trainer. And she has been on a podcast episode and has talked about, you know, her training and all of those things. But you guys work very closely with Quinn because you have decided that you're going to service Quinn.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how that's going.
So right now we had a little bit of a rough patch, which I started doing research on. Apparently when dogs get around like their teenage years, like anywhere from like 1.5 to like 2.5, they can get like weird anxieties. I don't know if you know that. I didn't know that. Like anxieties can come out of absolutely nowhere. So we've hit a rough patch a couple of weeks ago where she was getting like anxious outside, where she would just sit there and just shiver to the point that like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like her whole body would just shake and she would just shut down. And we couldn't pinpoint it. So like me and I were sitting outside. We're like, all right, well, we have to walk. We got to figure out where this is stemming from. We got to work through this. We got to build her confidence back up. So we started doing that. I started taking her on the lawn and playing fetch, throwing treats in the grass just to kind of like build that back up. We took her to like busy areas and we're playing fetch in busy area, kind of like high volume areas. Not like, I'm not playing fetch with her in the middle of a boulevard. I just want to put that out there. But like I would take her down like a side block and it would be off like the main strip, but like close enough that you could hear the beeps, you could hear the trucks and the people and the this and the that, and like you can hear it, but like also like far enough that she was safe. We did that, which kind of helped break her out. And then I took her outside one day and she shut down all over again. I'm like, what do we do? Then I'm like, oh, maybe it's the cars. Maybe it's the people. I don't know. Then she came and dog sat with me and she's like, she's doing it again. She's like, I thought it was the cars. She's like, but a car didn't even pass and she's doing this. And then yesterday I was sending videos of me playing with Quinn and she's perfectly fine outside again. So, and then that's what kind of got me into my research because I'm like, how does this happen? And now she's fine, as if nothing happened. She's running out the door again, ready to go for a walk. She's ready to go play ball again. She's ready to do these things. It was very weird.
It's interesting how quickly and oddly dog behavior can change. And just for short periods of time, sometimes long periods of times, just that one little trigger can set off a whole display of emotions and behavioral issues in a dog. And I think as long as you're willing to take the time, like you are, and work through them, then you're always going to end up being successful. And sometimes it is just like, you know, the snap of your fingers, you know, a blink of the eye, and everything's okay. And maybe she'll regress and you'll have the issue come back and forth again, and maybe you'll be able to identify whatever that trigger is. But I think as long as you are working actively with her and Mia together, she will be successful. Let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing as far as servicing her and how that goes.
Yes. All right. So I'm sorry, just to touch back on with Mia. So we're working with her with those anxieties. So we're kind of doing divide and conquer. So she's kind of helping me with her publicly, and I've been doing task training on my own. Which once we get her publicly, like up to par publicly, she'll kind of go over the tasks that I've been training to make sure that they're perfected and they are the way that they're supposed to, like they're supposed to be. Like I'll send her videos of me doing it with her, and she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's great! Like, how long did that take her?" And I'm like, "I don't know. This is the third time, maybe over the last week that we've tried doing this." And she's like, "That's insane." She's like, "Sometimes dogs get it quick, and sometimes they don't." So right now, we got one task under our belt, which is I can never remember the name of it, but like it's kind of like restless leg syndrome. Like when you sit there and you're tapping your leg anxiously. I do it a lot. Like my husband will point it out and be like, "What are we anxious about? Like relax. Like we're watching a movie. It's fine." So I kind of taught her to touch my leg anytime that I'm shaking. And I think it was 2 days ago, I did it without asking her. Like I was doing it as I normally do. And without me bringing anything to her attention, she tasked. And I was like, "You did that all by yourself?" And then I gave her a chicken nugget because I was eating chicken nuggets. And I was like, "You deserve one."
She definitely deserved one.
And like my anxiety was so bad that she wound up putting her head on my knee, which I didn't teach her to do that. It was just pause. I was like, "All right, we're getting there."
I know that service training is a process and that there is a lot involved in it. And we're going to share some information in the episode notes on where to look and kind of who to talk to as far as getting your dog serviced. And the rules are different in every single state.
Mm-hmm.
So you really need to do your research and ask around, ask your local trainers to find out what you need to do this properly, because there is a big difference between an actual task serviced psychiatric dog and an emotional support dog. And I think that a lot of times people just think that because they have an emotional support dog, they can take that dog everywhere and it can do everything that, you know, these service dogs can do. And that's just unfortunately not true. And it is causing a bit of a rift and a bit of a problem for people who have true service dogs. So what's the best advice that you can give somebody as far as knowing that your dog is a good choice for being a service dog, and your best opinion on how to find a trainer to help you with that?
Honestly, just putting it out there. I found Mia from going on Facebook. That's literally how I found Mia. I put it in one of our community things, and it was actually for Ivy that I found Mia. And she came in for a consultation, and obviously for a consultation, you meet all of my crazy dogs. And she pointed out to me, she was like, "You know, Quinn is Ivy's emotional support animal. Did you notice that?" And I was like, "That's a thing?" She's like, "Yeah, it is." She's like, "Did you notice that Quinn came up to me, and as soon as Quinn came up to me, that's when Ivy decided that I was okay." She's like, the minute that like Quinn gave the okay, she was okay. And like it all kind of set in when she said that. I was like, wow, you're right, because Ivy didn't really like walks, but as long as she's paired with Quinn, she was fine. Like she was okay to go for a walk around the block. She was okay to try new spaces, but that was because she had Quinn. I'm like, okay. She actually pointed out to me that Quinn is more of like an empath. So she's very like in tune with everybody's emotions. Granted, she's definitely a nut job, but she's really good when it comes to like if you're sad, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling happy, like she kind of just vibes off of you. I had an idea of maybe getting another service dog down the line. I had no idea that it was going to be Quinn until kind of like Mia put it on my radar, and she's like, "Oh, like that would be really good." She learned that Diamond had been my service dog previous. I retired her, just old age. And I think that service animals, you should be able to trust in them 110%. And at that point, I couldn't trust in her anymore.
They do unfortunately get to that certain age where it's time to retire them. And usually that, but depending on the size of the dog, that's usually somewhere between 8 and 10 years old. So I don't think that you made the wrong choice with Diamond there. And like you said, Quinn is very in tune with you and your other dogs. Dogs can actually scent emotions. So she must be especially sensitive to you, especially I know that you've told me privately that you have anxiety, and that's probably some of the leg shaking. And if she's that in tune with you, I think that's a perfect way to start with a service dog. Now, I know that this is a long-term journey. So where are you guys at? Are you just in the beginning stages of this?
Yeah.
How long have you been training?
We just started training a month ago. So like this is fairly new because we wanted to make sure that Ivy was up to par before I started putting any more into Quinn. But it's not that I haven't been working with Quinn because like I wanted to also perfect her basic commands before I started doing anything more. Like I want her to be the best dog that she can be. I also think that this would be the difference of a service animal and an emotional support animal. I want, as the handler, I want my dog to be, I mean, you're never going to get 100% out in public. You're never going to get that. But I want my dog to be respectable, like has manners when she's out. And I want her to be what she's supposed to be, a service animal. She's not supposed to go up to people. She's not supposed to sniff people. She's not supposed to act a fool. Like she's supposed to be service equipment.
A real service animal, not just a vest that you bought on Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I really commend you for the ability to see the difference between the two. There are definitely a lot of rules. They have to be able to get in and out of transportation. They have to be able to ride on all forms of transportation. There's a lot that's involved in the test assessment that she will have to complete. We are starting to run out of time for this episode, but I would like to say that when Quinn finishes and has successfully become a service dog, I would like for you to come back and tell us how the journey went and how long it took, and just kind of give the listeners a little bit more information on how the whole process works once you've gotten farther through it.
Definitely.
That would be I think that'll be a really fun thing to do. And just, again, another educational resource for our listeners. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we go tonight?
I will share this because I know that a lot of people feel like imposters when it comes to having service animals for your mental health. If you feel that it's necessary or you feel that it's going to help you, it doesn't matter what other people are going to feel. I suffer pretty badly with my mental health, and I kind of I suffer in silence because nobody wants to hear it. It's not a fun conversation for other people to do. And I understand sometimes people also don't know how to receive it and kind of give responses back. So it's no fault to other people. I understand that. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's going to be best for you. And you don't have to tell them what your service animal is for. You don't have to go into explanations. You could just say, it's helping me, and that's that. The only explanation that you have to give is what tasks they can provide, and that's it. They don't need to know it's for psychiatric. They don't need to know it's because your vision isn't 100%. They don't need to know these things. So if it's going to help you, you should do what's going to help you. Because honestly, I felt like that with Diamond, and I felt like an imposter, and I regret that because I don't have any pictures of her when she was working. I don't have any of that stuff. And I really wish I did.
I appreciate that, Brittney. I was a lifelong introvert until 4 years ago when all of a sudden I had my first panic attack, and anxiety, depression was the diagnosis soon after. Then when the pandemic happened, I actually found out that working from home and working in the house with my dog was wonderful for my mental health. And I was also the person that was like, I don't need help. I don't need any of this. And it's, once you open that door to acceptance of I need this, it's such a different world.
It's like a relief comes off of your shoulders a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've always suffered in silence. I have the same thing. I have intense anxiety that I can lose consciousness. I have depression. I have a little bit of ADHD. So like me trying to stick to one task is just, you should see my text messages. Like I will respond to you in 5 hours. I'm like, I don't know what happened. Send.
Yeah, I don't know how much you've been looking at the video, but my ADHD is going off pretty bad today. So I'm like, I am listening. I'm just all over the place right now.
I get it. I can't make eye contact. Eye contact makes me so uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's because you're only doing one thing, and that's not how you operate.
I've been swirling my ring the entire
Yep, same.
I think that it's really something incredible that has happened with this show is that we have had so many people open up about their mental health and how their dogs have helped them with their mental health. And Josh and I both have anxiety and depression. And he, like he said, he also has ADHD. And it's really, I think, helped us bond with our guests. And I truly, truly think that it just is another way that we can build this community and build this support system, because hearing you say that, you know, people don't want to hear it, I personally have also experienced that. And I'm here to say, I do want to hear it. And I'm here for you, and I'm here for all the listeners. And I truly hope that you will continue to reach out and stay in touch. And like I said, I absolutely 100% want to have you come back. And it was amazing to have you tonight. So thank you so much for being here. Yes, thank you so much for being here. And we can't wait to have you back again. And we're going to sign off for this episode of Straight Up Dog Talk. Keep your eyes peeled for the next episode drop on the socials, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Straight Up Dog Talk was created by Emily Breslin. It is edited, produced, and co-hosted by Josh Wasta under the supervision of Straight Up Dog Talk, LLC, and Emily Breslin. If you're enjoying this podcast, follow or subscribe to be sure you don't miss an episode, and leave us a review on your favorite platform. Looking for more honest and relatable dog content? Check out our sister show, Unpacked, with Jerry Sheriff and Madison Simpson. Thanks for listening to Straight Up Dog Talk. See you next week.